Welcome, I'm the Deadwoodjedi, and this is going to be another Diablo Immortal video. We're going to be talking about how to level your champions and how to do it fast. The most efficient methods in order to level your champions, because there's some interesting mechanics, at least from the closed beta. Now, once we get into the actual open beta, we're going to have a much better sense of what any changes they made and, different ways we're going to have to go about this system. But as we stand now, what we know, I'm going to tell you guys and break down all the things you're going to want to do as you're advancing through this game. I'm obviously not going to break it down from, area to area necessarily, or dungeon to dungeon, but I am going to break down the things that open up for you, what you're going to want to be looking for, and when you're going to want to be doing certain activities in order to maximize your experience and get to that level 60 cap as quick as you can. I just want to take a minute before we get into all the nitty-gritty details of this to remind you to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Guys, I'm just trying to get this channel off the ground. So if you enjoy the content and the way I present it to you, take the time, hit that subscribe button. It's such a huge bit of support for my channel right now. I cannot stress that enough. So thank you guys, and let's break this down. So before I walk you through some of the tips and tricks as far as leveling up your characters fast, I figured it probably makes some sense to figure out why we want to do that quickly. What does level 60 really mean in this game? And what it really means is it unlocks a lot of different stuff for you and takes your game kind of to that next level. So not only does hitting level 60, obviously make your character stronger, but it also unlocks the different difficulties. You can start to do Hell 1, 2, 3, and 4 once you hit that level 60 spot and beat the campaign. You also get better loot. I mean, the harder the difficulty, the better the loot that drops. So it's going to make your champions that much stronger. In addition to that, it gives you now the option to get set items, which is incredibly important, and those are going to be really valuable to maximizing the abilities and the damage that your characters can do. Another thing that's really great when you hit level 60 is all of a sudden you can now start participating in zone events, and these are things that are going to happen. I think it's basically every hour, or at certain set times in the day, essentially, where these big bosses are just going to walk through an entire zone area, and you and anybody else in the zone can start taking it down. They offer really great loot, and it not only and I think in addition to that, it's just kind of a fun idea and concept, right? This massive, guardian boss just walking through an entire zone, and everybody that's there just coming in to get a hit in, right? And get some of that loot as well. It's a really good and important thing, I think, as you're going through your leveling progression to do that, right? As you're farming, as you're going through, if you can time that out with those zone events, that can be a really nice boost to the efficiency of your farming. And you can't do that until you hit level 60. And the very last thing that gets unlocked with level 60 is the Paragon system. Now, if you're familiar with Diablo 3, I know you're like, the Paragon system is the worst. It took so many levels. It was such a big power spike, and it was just, fraught with some issues. But the Paragon system in this, at least so far, is pretty tame, right? It's still going to give you a big power burst, so it's definitely worth doing, but it's not crazy like Diablo where you're leveling up to Paragon 100 plus or whatever. It's limited, it's manageable, but it's still going to be very useful for you. So as you go through the campaign, you are going to be slaying monsters, doing the activities, the dungeons, your bounties, and you're going to continue to level up. That's not going to be an issue, but there is going to come a point later on, I think it's probably going to be around 32 to 35 for most of you out there, maybe even 38, where you're going to not be able to continue on the campaign until you hit level 40. There's a ceiling, a gating effect that takes place there. And so that's going to be the one thing that's really going to slow your progress as far as power leveling through this game. Now, there's a lot of different ways you go about leveling in this game, period, right? You can either do the power level thing straightforward, just going with the storyline, the main line, and trying to get through the content as quick as possible. Or you can do the kind of meander route, the scenic route, where you're kind of going from side quest to side quest, something catches your eye and you go do that. Now, as a person that's going to try and push this game as fast as I can and doing content on it, I'm probably going to be opting for that more streamlined approach. But as someone that loves Diablo 3, that really had a fun time playing that, loves the Diablo franchise and really enjoys the storylines and stuff, I'm real tempted just to do the scenic route and, really see everything that you can see in this game, because those are really cool side quest stories. A lot of them are really funny or very tragic, and definitely worth on a gameplay experience going through, right? It doesn't really matter which approach you take. Obviously, the most efficient route, going straight with the storyline, is going to be the better approach as far as, optimizing that leveling experience. But let's not forget, it's a game. You're supposed to have fun. And honestly, I think for most of you out there, especially a casual player, having fun, taking the scenic route, seeing where the game takes you, is probably the best approach for you. And that's totally fine. But it doesn't really matter which way you go. The difference in levels isn't going to be too drastic. It's more about how much time you're investing along the way. Once you get to that gating effect, right, where all of a sudden you have to be of a certain level to continue advancing the campaign. And I think these happen periodically, right? At least in the closed beta. It was at level 40 that you had to get to, and then one at 45, and at 55, and when it comes to the open beta, we don't know exactly where those level caps are going to be. We don't know exactly, if, some of that gating effect is going to change. But from what we do know right now, that's still going to be in effect. So how do we deal with this? How do we get around this problem? Because you don't want to, advance through the campaign and then get stuck and then just have to go back and farm for experience. You're going to have to do a little bit of that anyway, but we want to minimize that as much as possible. So how do we fix that? Well, there's a battle pass in the game. Now, I believe there's 2 tracks on this battle pass, right? There's a free-to-play version, and then there's the pay-to-win version. The battle pass is probably going to be a very worthy financial investment. If that's something you guys want to do, I actually really encourage it. I think it is probably going to be the best bang for your buck in this game. And battle passes in general are usually pretty good. But regardless which way you go, one of the things you want to make sure you're doing or not doing is don't redeem your rewards until you first hit that level cap. When you get up to level 35 and it says, well, you got to be level 40 to keep going, that's when you go to your battle pass and you start redeeming all the rewards you can out of there, because there's a lot of experience in there. And you don't want to redeem it until you get to that level cap. That's going to be a really big thing to help speed up the growth and the experience of your account, right? You're going to get some really good rewards out of that. There's going to be stuff that's going to allow you then to farm faster at that point and really utilize the equipment they give you. And so you definitely want to wait as long as possible. And then when you're actually doing the battle pass, you also want to check, once you redeem all that, you want to continue to level that battle pass up. So one of the things you're going to want to do is check the battle pass, see which dungeons are offering 2x experience on it, right? Which ones are going to level that battle pass up even faster, and focus on doing those dungeons first. That's going to be a great way to kind of continue to advance the battle pass, which is going to give you even more experience, even more rewards. And then at that point, once you hit that level cap, once you've redeemed all the experience and the loot from the battle pass, really what you're going to be focusing on at that point is just getting your champion as stacked out, as decked out, as advanced as possible, so that you can then farm the content that you have available to you as easily as possible. And there's going to be a couple little tricks as far as how to do this. First one, when you finally unlock gambling, you definitely want to gamble for some jewelry. You want to get yourself at least 2 rings and an amulet, because it's really going to be your only access to that gear at that point, and that can be a massive boost to your CR rating, your combat rating, and that's like the overall rating that matters more than anything else in this game. So you definitely want to go do that as soon as that opens up. Another thing you're going to want to focus on a little bit is the essence transfer. Now, this allows you to transfer the power of one legendary item to another, and basically it lets you keep the best item between 2, but still give it the powers that you want. So, if I have a sword that allows me to do, skill A better than the other sword that I have, but the other sword I have gives me a lot more raw stats in it, I can use the essence transfer to take the powers from the first sword and put them on the second sword. Eventually, you're going to want to do this for all the legendary weapons that are in the game, or at least that you come across. So this definitely don't feel like it's a waste. You're not sacrificing anything. It's one of the best ways actually to continue to build your power while maintaining all the awesome skills and skill combinations that you're enjoying. Another thing you're going to want to make sure that you do whenever you have the opportunity is joining the shadows. So once, the battle between the immortals and the shadows is going to be an ongoing thing in this game. And it's one of the more MMO type of objects, possibilities in this game where, a lot of groups of people are fighting each other basically. And so the shadows is one of the ways to get some extra experience, because when you're in the shadows, or if you're in the immortals, you're going to have a lot of extra, experience opportunities, let's say. You're going to get get, different quests and, activities that you can do that are unique to being in one of those groups. And so that can be another way to add additional experience to your runs and help you level up even faster. And then one of the last things, and I think maybe the most important thing that you're going to want to make sure you're doing outside of the battle pass part, is the Heliquary. And the Heliquary is, I think, are going to be a really important part of this game as far as the leveling up part goes. It's going to be a really hard boss battle fight, basically, where you're going to team up with up to 8 people, right? So it's going to be a big fight where you're taking down these bosses, but the thing is, you're going to get these trophies that are going to boost your CR, your combat rating, and these are things that you're definitely going to want to get to, as the rewards are definitely going to be worth it and help level you up a lot faster and make your character a lot stronger. So definitely you're going to want to do that pretty much as soon as it opens up for you in the game. You're going to want to immediately start going into the Heliquary whenever you can. You don't want to skip this whatsoever. When we're talking about going back to different areas of farming, when we're talking about doing some of the rifts and other dungeon areas, you can do that a lot, and there's not really a cap on it. The Heliquary is a little bit different. You don't get that opportunity all the time, and so whenever you have that opportunity, you definitely want to jump in and farm that area of the game. So that was the quick and dirty. What do you need to do to level up your champions fastest in Diablo Immortal when it comes out? You're going to want to, 1, wait to redeem any of the rewards from the battle pass. This is going to be the number 1 mistake people will make. And I highly encourage you, make sure you wait on those rewards until you hit those level caps. Once you have the Heliquary open, that's absolutely something you're going to want to jump into. Same thing with the shadows. And let's not forget, of course, doing the gambling. That's going to be really important to give your champions a power spike, which means farming will only get easier from that point on. And also, if you can do the essence transfer, just to make sure that the weapons that you have, the gear that you have, is giving you the maximum rewards that you possibly can get, even as you're leveling up and finding better pieces overall. And very last, make sure to check the battle pass for that 2x experience boost that you can get for certain dungeons or areas of this game. It's gonna just make it more efficient. You get double the rewards, do it, right? And so that's it. That's my kind of tips and tricks. Now, if you're wondering, how do I know all this? Actually, follow website maxroll.gg. Highly encourage you check it out. They have amazing guides. They are, have a lot of really great content creators on there, which I watch and kind of learn from as well, that are going to give you a lot of the information along the way. So highly encourage that. But yeah, it's going to be fun. I cannot tell you how excited I am for this game. I haven't been this excited for a new game in a very, very long time. So this is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to be able to, talk this out with you guys, play with you guys, and share some of these tips and tricks that I'm learning along the way with you guys. So once it comes out, it'll be neat to see, how many of these things that we know right now actually change and how many of them stay in the game. So guys, thanks for stopping by. Please hit that subscribe button. I'm still trying to grow this channel as we just took it off the ground. And till next we meet, I'm the Deadwoodjedi.